What's up, guys? Luke here from Spotlight on Spurs, and we are back again for another My Spurs preview. This time we have Football Heritage TV and Savva joining us. Thank you very much for coming on, guys. How are we doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. My specialist subject, Tottenham Hotspur. Let's do it. I'm excited.
We haven't spoke about this a lot. Not enough anyway, apparently. So
Yeah.
We'll get straight into it. Unfortunately, we have got to start a space that you're not going to want to start. But just your quick thoughts on last season. I'm sure everybody watching this video already knows, but just for those that may not.
Yeah, look, my thoughts on last season was, fantastic to win a European trophy. But unfortunately for me, that it was tainted with what was just an absolute awful season. It's great, as I said, great to win the trophy, but that one night doesn't, for me, mask losing 26 games in a year. So for me, it was a tough one. I didn't enjoy the football. I didn't enjoy anything about what the manager did. He wasn't, you know me, I wasn't a big Ange fan. So bittersweet. However, it did allow us to get back in the Champions League. So I would say it's going to go in the history books. It will go down as successful. In my mind, it will be one I will not want to be revisiting too much, if I'm brutally honest.
Yeah, I don't think anyone realised the pain that you would go through it when we all said we'd finish 17th and win a trophy. I don't think anyone really realised the pain.
It's why I never said I'd want it. I know all these people going, oh, I'll take 17th and a trophy. When it actually happens, you realise we were losing nearly every week. It's like, that's not worth that for me. So, hey, it is what it is. But I think the key word there, it was last season, right? So onwards and upwards to a new beginning.
Exactly, and that's what we're going to be discussing. So, what are your initial thoughts on the Thomas Frank appointment? Again, when we first recorded this, there was a lot of different feeling amongst the fan base. We're recording this now, and we've just lost 4-0 to Bayern Munich. Anyone would have thought that we'd gone a whole season without a win, with some of the fan base deciding that Frank, after losing 4-0 to Bayern, should be gone already. But what are your thoughts on the Thomas Frank appointment?
Look, I listen, was Thomas Frank my first choice? No, but he was definitely one of the 2 or 3 that I wanted because I want to coach. And I know now that when I say I want to coach, that word gets thrown at you every time you concede a goal. Oh, but I thought he was going to coach that. Apparently we're not going to lose any games and concede 0 goals on the way to winning a title. But no, look, I like him. I like everything about him. I like his demeanor. I like the way he is with the press. I like the way he is with the players, the fans. It just seems like a real sensible appointment. And whilst that might not be the sexy appointment, I don't think this club needed sexy. I don't think this club needed a Jose, a Conte. I think we needed someone that shuts up, gets on with it, and is allowed to develop and coach and build a team. But I get why some people are underwhelmed. But hey, we're a 17th place football team. We've got to stay in our lane. And listen, I'm a big fan of Frank, and I hope he does really well. But proof's in the pudding, right? Proof's in the pudding.
Yeah, I think sensible is exactly that. And that was exactly what I was just going to say while you was talking, just thinking sensible was the appointment. And that's what most people have said. I don't think anyone's actually said he was my number 1. He's always been 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. But everyone's all on the pivot to that has always gone, but I completely get it. There's a lot of stuff that he would bring to Spurs that actually Spurs require, or it would work in terms of having a base level of ability and being able to improve it as from a coaching point of view. But that is definitely all I hear. Right, it rings in my ears whenever I see Frank or anything like that. Is we have a coach.
Yeah, I think the key thing here is when you watched how Spurs have played for the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years, however long it is. I'm looking and I'm not really seeing any coaching going on. Ange for me was a very gung ho manager without any real tactics. When I look before that at the likes of Jose and Conte, I feel like those guys aren't coaches, if you know what I mean. Those guys are, give them the big signings, they will build a team that wins you things immediately. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that either of those tactics work for Spurs. What I do think is that Frank is more of a Pochettino type, where You know, is he going to say things in a press conference that stir the pot? No. Is he going to be this big sexy appointment? No. But he is a very good coach and he's going to get on with his job. And that's kind of what I think we need. I really do think we need a little bit of calm, a period of stability.
Yeah, I was literally just about to ask you that same question, saying is he the closest thing to Poch since Poch? And I don't mean from a stylistic point of view, but in terms of almost identifying that he wants the players that he can build up, as opposed to wanting players that can come and do the job right this second.
Yeah, absolutely. Apologies, didn't mean to do that. Yeah, so I was talking as I was walking to the door. So sorry, didn't mean to ruin your video. Listen, I do think he's definitely the closest thing to Poch. He's a methodical guy. He wants to build partnerships. He wants to let teams build an identity. He wants to implement patterns of play. And he's a bit old school. He wants to make sure that at the back you're stronger. And I think that's what he's working on right now. He's trying to make sure that let's get a proper back four in place. Let's get the DM sitting in front of them. So for me, yes, he's the closest thing to Poch. Whether or not our fan base allow for somebody like that isn't the Jose name and the Conte name, I don't know. But listen, I hope he's a success. I hope he's a success. I really do.
Yeah, well, I would hope that everybody hopes that he's a success. But however, with the fan base, they seem to be jumping on his back a little bit. And again, back just to the Poch, just before we go on to this question, but Poch came into Spurs at a very different level of where we currently are at. I know that we finished 17th, but obviously just won a trophy. There's that expectation there. But when Poch was here, probably wasn't. So he may have been given a bit more time to be able to do that developing previous. Whereas Frank, it seems for some reason he needs to hit the ground running. So I think it's a bit
that's a really good point. Look, it's a really good point. It's almost like everyone's just kind of forgotten the last few years. And with Frank, it's like, go. You must be amazing from pre-season game one.
Yeah.
And most managers that come in, you go, okay, give them a bit of time, let them put their identity in. This man's being judged before he's had a competitive match in charge of Tottenham. Bearing in mind, so far we've had friendlies. And Luke, I think I'm probably a bit older than you, right? But I'm guessing in your time frame and in my time frame, I've never known pre-seasons being scrutinized as much as this one under Thomas Frank. And I think that when Spurs fans, if they take a little step back and remove whether they were Ange in, Ange out, or Frank in, Frank out, I think they'll realize they're being really harsh on this guy. Yeah. Really, really harsh on this guy. If it doesn't work in the long run, I'll be the first to say, listen, Frank, really liked you, wanted to give you the opportunity. It's not worked. But how can we judge a manager that's let's be fair, we've played Newcastle, Arsenal, and Bayern. Yep. We've got PSG next. 2 games after that, we've got Man City. I mean, can we let this guy play some Burnleys and some Wolves and Palace and Fulhams before we... Do you know what I mean? I feel like 100%. We're being way too harsh as a collective.
And as I said before, that with regards to the preseason friendlies, I don't care about them. The beating Arsenal is brilliant, but it's not the be all and end all for me in a preseason game. And if I've got that energy, then it has to be the same thing for a buy-in game. It's about fitness. It's about getting. If we lose every preseason game but start the season by winning 5 on the trot, I'll take it all day long. So I think that there's been it has gone a little bit crazy. I do think that this was going to happen regardless, to be honest. I think that if Andrew was still here, you'd have had a portion that would have just been like, regardless of what's happened. But he's not even had a preseason, full preseason. Some of the players haven't even been back. We've had injuries, everything else. So I think it's very, very over the top personally. But this question here, we've kind of touched on it anyway, but what we said mainly is tactical and what we think he's going to do setup-wise. Is there anything else? Anything else that you think that he brings? Calmness being
I think he brings calmness. I think he brings lack of drama. I think what we've seen in the last 2 years, it doesn't matter if you're Ange in or Ange out. I think what we've seen is drama. Yeah. Constantly saying things in press conferences that stirred up the press. Yeah. Got TalkSport talking about him. You know, all the pundits questioning his tactics and this gung-ho. It felt like a bit of a circus. Mm-hmm. I think Frank will stop all that. I think you watch Frank now. When Frank talks after a game, I want to listen. I think he's very honest. Said, listen, I really like this portion of the game. We've got to work on that. I didn't like the way that the midfielders gave the ball away too cheaply, or I didn't like that I think we sat back too much and we need to tweak that. I want to hear that. I don't want to hear every time that I've got no problems with how we played. We were unlucky. I don't want to hear that. I want to hear from my manager that you acknowledge that there are positives and there are development points. So I think he's going to bring that. I think he's going to bring calmness. He's going to bring coaching. And I just think he's got a likability factor to him. Now, some will say Ange did.
Yeah.
Some will say Conte did and Jose did. But for me, these last 3 or 4 managers have been very polarizing with their personalities. Yeah. I love Jose, by the way. Yeah. I love Jose's polarizing personality. Ange, not so much. But with Frank, I don't think if anyone deep down looks, there's nothing to dislike about his personality. There's nothing to look at and go, oh my God, mate, stop talking, you're arrogant, or stop talking, you're talking nonsense. So I think he brings that to Tottenham, just a little bit of calm, just a little bit of calm. Or sorry, a lot of calm, a lot of calm.
I think unless there's an agenda, I think you're completely right. There's if you go looking at minor little nitpicks, I know that there was one where Frank come out and said about him, we're definitely going to lose games, and there was uproar by some people, and it's like, come on, let's just be. I played on it a little bit because obviously, as you know, I did want Ange at the end of the season. Wasn't saying that he was the 4 or 5 year plan, but definitely felt like Ange should stay around. But I just find that some of the views, unless there's an agenda, then agendas have got an agenda, I guess.
Yeah, of course.
So moving on to what Frank's given, and this doesn't have to be around Frank at all. This has been a very good question because at the start when we was asking it, we was just getting Kudus over the line. Morgan Gibbs-White was close. The concerns were a little bit. It was hard to find really, whereas now there seems to be a hell of a lot more. We're going to go into transfers in a bit, but what concerns do you have with Spurs currently? We've only got a few minutes.
It's difficult because obviously you said we're going to go into transfers in a minute, but I mean realistically, the concerns around this club right now are that we've lost James Maddison and all of his goals and assists. Kulusevski, we haven't got his goals and assists. Dominic Solanke's not available, his goals and assists. And of course, Sonny's moved on, his goals and assists. That's over 80 goal contributions from last season. And at the moment, this team that's playing has got none of that. Yeah. Now, I really like Kudus, but I think Kudus needs better players to play with. I think he looks like a guy that he's looking for, who can I play a 1-2 with? Who can I link up with? And at the moment, he's linking up with people like Richarlison and Brennan Johnson, who are about technically as good as me and you, Luke. And I've never even seen you play, and I know how bad I was.
A bit of a player.
So, but look, I do think it kind of has to move into the transfer conversation. But obviously, I don't want to throw your show. But
no, it's fine. Where we were starting at when we move into the transfers is more sell, and then we'll go on to the recruitment side of things. Obviously, with this, it was just before Sonny was obviously confirmed. So the main question was around him, Richarlison, and then everyone else. It was sort of the same names being brought up: Basuma, Gill, Solomon, them sort of players that need to be moved on. Any you disagree with in that section?
No, all of them you just said. But I'm in a situation where I don't think there's any player at Spurs that I look at and I say I'll be absolutely gutted if they go. Like I mean, like when we had a Bale, when we had a Kane, we had a peak son, not this son. This son, he's gone the right time. For me, I think if people come in now for Bentancur, you've got to look. He hasn't signed a contract, so I think you've got to ask the question: hang on, mate, are you sticking around? Are you not? Again, I like Bentancur, but I don't like him enough that I'd go, oh my God, we've sold Bentancur. You've got to ask questions about Romero. Is he signing a new contract? He's got 2 years left. Are we allowing this guy to run this down to 1 year and then suddenly he's worth 25, 30 million? I don't know. Is that why we're after another centre half? I don't know on that front. For me, I would entertain offers on a lot of them. I really would, especially in the forward areas. I'd sell Brennan Johnson if an offer came in. I'd sell Son. Richarlison's definitely got to go. Solomon's got to go. Brian Hill's got to go. Other than that, we're very, very short in that area. So, look, other than that, the midfielders, I can't see Sarr going anywhere. Bergvall and Gray kids, they're not going anywhere. Paulina's just come in. Other than that, no, I can't really see who's going to go other than those. I really can't.
Yeah, as I say, it's very, very similar. I'll take it with Son. You think that it was the right time to go and to get that amount of money. I think for someone who's got 1 year left at his age is pretty decent business on the basis that we replace him, which we'll go into in a sec.
Yeah, look, I think with the Son and the replacing conversation, it's two for me. It's two different conversations. Should he go anyway? Absolutely. Like,
Yep.
you know, what we don't want to do is we don't want to see a guy who was a hero and a club legend suddenly become this shadow of himself. And in the last couple of years, yeah, he's still got some goals and assists, but it's not Son, is it? It's not the Son where we go, oh my God, he's breathtaking. It's a very it's a mediocre version of Son who's not scaring defenders. He's not beating his man. He's not getting the ball, and you know, he was superb when he shuffle inside and whip one in the top corner. We don't see that Son anymore. So for me, yeah, absolutely the right time. And we'll talk in a minute about whether we replace him or not. But yeah, the right time for me. And obviously wish him the best of luck at LA. But I think the fact that he's going out to LA shows you this is where he's at now in his career. So best of luck to him.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I'm just glad that we've managed to get 20 million for him, as long as it's pumped back in.
As long as it's pumped back in, indeed. So in terms of this one is obviously around the business that we've currently done. Now, I think in isolation, it's good business. However, as a whole, is it enough? I think is the big question. But eager to know whether you think that the Kudus sign in, Palhinha, and then obviously you've got the other players like Takai that have come in. Are you happy with the business? Where do you sit in terms of what we've done so far?
Interesting word you used there, isolation. In isolation, I really love the Kudus signing. In isolation, I really love the Palhinha signing.
Yep.
Those two for the first team, yes, good signings. But the problem we've got, and this is something that Lubo keeps saying to me, is if you think about it, what we've done so far is we've lost a playmaker, gained a DM.
Yep.
We've lost a number 11, gained a 7. So really, I don't think we've strengthened. And again, this is the problem at the moment. We've just replaced two positions with two positions.
Yep.
Those two signings are good. I think obviously Palhinha, everyone judging on 45 minutes. I mean, this boy has played an hour of football in 6 months. So you've got to give him time to settle in. And this, Luke, is why I hate signings coming in towards the last month of the window, because this guy could have been on our preseason tour with us, playing, getting 90 minutes in his legs. That's aside. Takai, it's a bit of a nothing signing. I mean,
yeah, I agree.
All the Spurs fans, I don't think any of us can really sit here and go, what a top signing. This boy's special. But at 5 million, I mean, it is what it is. You know, at least it's not like when we normally spend 40, 50 million on these youngsters. The other two, well, we kind of knew they were coming in from January. Danso, I think, is a good rotational player. I've got no problem with Danso coming in at that price. I think he's a decent signing. I think he's a decent centre-back. He's not sexy. He's not got a massive name in the world of football. And I think because of that, people go, oh, Danso. But I think he does a job whenever he comes on. I think he does a really good job. You know my thoughts on Matisse Tell. You know, I'm absolutely embarrassed that Tottenham felt that for 45 million, whether it's euros, pound, whatever, I'm including the 10 million loan fee. I'm looking across the whole of European football and world football, and there's just so many better wingers that we could have got for 45 million or cheaper than Tell. For me, it's a really lazy signing. It's another one that the fans are a lot of copium around Tell. He'll be a baller. He'll come good. Well, so far, what I've seen of him at Bayern, France, under 21s and Spurs, I'm thoroughly unimpressed with him. Yes, he's young, but with Tottenham, that can't be the excuse. If you spend 45 million on a player, I don't care if they're young. You're buying them for Tottenham Hotspur's first team. So really underwhelmed with half the business, happy with the other half.
Yeah, obviously I'm on the other side of the fence with Tell. I don't know what it is. I just see something in him, but I completely agree. We had this conversation. I think it was on your show about if Tell's coming in as your starting left winger, which obviously you would hope Spurs have the plan of what's going to happen, then that's one thing. Whereas if he's a player that's coming off the bench, if Odebert's a player that's coming off the bench, that's a different option to your starting left winger in a Premier League and Champions League campaign. So it will be underwhelming if he's the starter. And also, I think it damages us if we've not got experienced pros for these young players to learn off, because that's part of development in young players, is having the pros around them who they can learn from, who they can mold their game around, who they can see what they do and obviously bring that into their own game. So we will go on to that transfer part now in terms of who we should be bringing in. Now you can just go down and say positions, or you can have players in that you would do. But I would like to know your number one target, but I do have a feeling everybody probably knows who that might be, because it's most people.
I mean, look, it's really obvious for me to say Eze, right? It's really obvious.
Everybody is.
Everyone's saying Eze. Look, I think that everyone's saying Eze because he is a sexy signing, right? He's the creator. He's the playmaker. He's the one that drops his shoulder, beats three men and rifles it into the top corner. I'd love Eze. Who wouldn't? But for all our talk of Eze, have we even bid? Have we talked to him? We don't know, right? We don't know. No. I'd love him, but let me give you a few names away from Eze, but who would be my number one target if you can get him in. I think we're missing a trick with Harvey Elliott. I really think we're missing a trick. I think he's a really good footballer that needs to go to a club that give him a game every game. Yeah, very, very difficult. People go, oh, he can't even force his way in at Liverpool. What do you mean even? It's Liverpool. Like these are the champions of England. I think we're missing a trick with him. I think there's players out there like Malik Fofana, who can play on the left, Mikatadze, who can play on the left or through the middle. I like Callum Awundo. In France, I think we've missed a trick with Evan Gussan, who Aston Villa have just signed for 27 million. I think that's an absolute bargain. Is it possible to get a Jack Grealish on loan for a bit of experience, something different, someone who can hold the ball up as well as bringing others into the game? I think there's so many players out there. There's so many. Look, I could sit here all day and give you a list of 100 footballers I'd like at Spurs. But I don't know who we're after. Are we even after left wingers and strikers? All I've heard is that we might be getting Nicholas Jackson if Richarlison goes. And that, for me, pretty much sums up zero transfer plan and lack of ambition. An okay striker, right? He's decent. He's decent. But anyway, they're just a selection of players that I would really like. Sanse of Bilbao as a playmaker, but they don't tend to sell their Basque players. Difficult everywhere, man. Everywhere. So, yeah.
It's a tough one, isn't it? Because a lot of the names that you've just named are players that don't play in the Premier League, and that seems to be where a lot of fans are like, well, if it's not Premier League players, then I don't want it. But some of the chats that I've seen recently, it is a bit crazy. I know you've spoken about it as well, in just terms of, let's be realistic to where we are. And if we was to put our 11 out right now, Tell or Odegaard probably start because there's no one else, right? Yeah. And most of these players improve that, and yet we're turning our nose up. The Grealish one, I originally, and I'll have my hands up, said I'm not a fan of 50 million and 300 grand a week. Absolutely not. But if we're turning around and saying we could potentially get him on a loan deal at 200 grand, then surely that's just a no-brainer. He upgrades us in every way. Would he not be one of the best footballers at the club straight away, immediately, as soon as he comes in?
I think technically he'd be the best footballer immediately. I mean, you could argue with Kudus, but look, I get it. I think the thing is, when we put forward players like that, what you hear is we need better. I'm like, hang on, at the moment we're not signing better.
We just need that level.
At the moment, the people saying we need better than Grealish are the ones praising Tell and Odegaard. And you know, when my head can't get around this mental gymnastics that these people do with their opinions. Oh, I wouldn't want Grealish. Oh, he likes a drink. So I've never seen him drunk on a pitch. Like, I'm cool, man. Do you know what I mean? James Maddison likes to party. He's done all right. One other I would say that I like as a player, but hear me out on this one, right? Is I like James McAtee of Man City.
Top player.
But what I would have liked to see is James McAtee is the guy you go, right, we've already got Maddison before he got injured. We've already got Maddison.
Yeah.
Bring in McAtee and say, look, we're going to rotate you with James Maddison. You can learn from him, blah, blah, blah. You can also operate in different areas. Now we've got 2 number 10s. But you don't have to bring in a McAtee and go, you're the number 1, number 10, go.
Yeah.
Now that's slightly changed. If we were a top club, what we would be doing right now is going, right, we're bringing Eze at 70 and let's go and get McAtee as well. If we were a top club with Champions League ambitions, we'd be going and buying 2 there.
Yep.
That's what we'd be doing. We'd be
and Eze works off the left as well. So you're not just signing 2 players that are pivoted into one position. They could play elsewhere.
Exactly. So I actually like McAtee. When people keep saying, would you buy him? I would. I just think it's a lot of pressure to put on a lad who's never been the main man, so to speak, or not even the main man. He's only kind of really just had his breakthrough season in the last half, but really good footballer. And my worry with people like McAtee and Elliott is when we kind of poo-poo them and say, they're not good enough for Spurs. My worry is, are they going to go on and be like Palmer?
Yeah.
Are they going to go on and be like Lavia? Do you know what I mean? Like
100%.
the big clubs let these younger players go. They go on and star. So I wouldn't say no to McAtee, but I'd like a senior alongside him. Good player, though. One to watch. He's one to watch him.
I really, really like McAtee. I think Barnes is a top player. Not Barnes. Harvey Elliott's a top player as well. But as I've said before, just the dickhead policy, I'm not sure he passes it. But McAtee, I would definitely take him. As I say, go on.
If I said to you, right, we've got, compared to what we've got now, if I said to you, we've got a striker and we've got Kudus, Elliott and McAtee behind them, right? At least there you've got a bit of vibrancy. You've got 3 players who all want the ball, 3 players who've all got an eye for a pass, 3 players who can link up. I'm not saying it has to be that free, but to me, I like those. Sometimes I like those kind of smaller, more technical players that get on the ball, want to make, their first thought is, can I look right? Can I look left? Is there anything through the middle? At the moment, other than Maddison, we've not got a single player in our squad that can do that. And that's going to be our downfall, right? So, look, one to watch, 24 days to go. 24 days to go.
It's absolutely crazy. And I think I've heard you say this before, but I used to watch Barcelona's Pep Guardiola's team every single game that they played, and them sort of players are perfect for it. And I think if you can bring in a player that's worked under Pep Guardiola, that is something that has to be factored in as a positive.
Do you know what? Absolutely. Do you know what? That's a great point, Luke. Not enough people talk about it. When you've been coached by someone like Guardiola, you can play. Right? Let's be fair. If he wasn't any good, he wouldn't have got these minutes at City. Now, people will say, well, if he's that good, why are they letting him go? City have got Foden, Cherky, Marmoush, Doku, Savio, Bob, Silva, Gundogan. Do you know what I mean? Spurs, he won't have those players to step over. He's not got,
and
we
also,
have not got those players.
As you've said, look at Palmer. Unfortunately, sometimes things just line up where it has to work. He's pushing for it. He wants to go, and that's kind of how it works. So, yeah, I completely agree. The next 2 questions are fairly quick. A one to watch for this season. It doesn't have to be like a youngster or anything like that. It could be. Sorry, that was another thing I was going to say about the Kudus thing. I actually think if you bring in a top level attacking creative player, you make the Kudus signing even better, because you mentioned it. If you've just got him as your attacking outlet, well, I'll just mark him, and that eradicates Spurs' attack. Whereas if you bring another one in, then
I said this to my show yesterday. If you watch what Arsenal did, if you watch what Newcastle did, and if you watch what Bayern Munich have done, they know Spurs have got nothing on the left-hand side. So what do? They've got 2 to 3 players, Kudus. Now suddenly you bring in an attacking midfielder they've got to worry about, and the left winger that they've got to worry about. Now you can't double up, triple up. Players like Kudus need players inside of them that they can link with. They need a Maddison. They need a Cole Palmer. This is where people go, oh, what's Kudus do? What is it that we're expecting at the moment? He's got no striker to look at, to pass to. He's got no playmaker. He's got no ball playing midfielder that he can link up with. And Absolutely spot on, Luke. Absolutely spot on. It would bring out the eyes, so to speak, wouldn't it? Bring out the eyes.
I agree. So yeah, one to watch for this season. We've had a few different names mentioned. But who would be your one guy that you're expecting? Because obviously the level of the playing staff last season was pretty poor. So everyone you could say would be one to watch in terms of improvements. But what's the one person that you think could have a step that year?
Jed Spence. I think Jed Spence is I'm going to say it. I think Jed Spence is levels above Destiny Udogie, levels above him. I would pursue with that on the left hand side, and the fact that he can play right as well.
Yep.
I think I don't want to put it in the one to watch category, but the one to improve category has got to be Solanke. Got to be. Off the back of last season, I thought that Ange played him terribly. I don't think he got the best out of him at all. I don't think he's that great, but I do think he's better than what we saw last year.
Yep.
And difficult to tell. We've got the three young midfielders, haven't we? In Sarr, Bergvall, and Gray. One of them, I think, will come on leaps and bounds. I'm not sure who yet, because I'm very different. A lot of people absolutely rave about Bergvall. For me, I'm a little bit disappointed when I watch him. I think he gives the ball away a lot.
Yep.
Right? I'm not saying there's not talent there, but I think everyone's gone way too early. They've put him on that pedestal rather than letting him learn and grow. Sarr, I'm never sure about Sarr. I'm never, ever sure about. I don't know what he is.
Can say that about Bergvall. Can say that about Bergvall for me, and I think that's and Gray you could even throw in there. He's a defensive midfielder that barely plays defensive midfield. If he does, he plays at right back, or he might play. He's been playing in an 8 in pre-season. So, but again, I'll go back to it. I think that having a Paulinho type in there will mean that they've got some experience alongside them. Maybe that will bring out the best in them.
Agreed. I'll be honest. I've said this and people laugh at me. I think the main reason we were going for Morgan Gibbs-White is because I still think that midfield needed something. I still think it needs that kind of 8 with that ability to drive, that bit of playmaking as well. I still think we're lacking in there. And I would upgrade. I'd upgrade Bentancur, but don't say it too loudly. People will get upset. So, but yeah, listen. I think one of them, Gray, Bergvall, or Sarr, will come on leaps and bounds. I think it's going to be very difficult for all of them to, because they can't all play.
Yeah, of course.
So let's see. Will it be Bergvall, like everyone says? Will it be Gray? Don't know. Maybe.
This might link into what you've just answered, but have you got a hot take for 25-26? I'll give you a couple of examples of what we've already had. Solanke to get 20 league goals. Spurs to finish top 4 are 2 that we've had.
I'll be honest. Who said Spurs to top 4? Who said it?
Nige. It was. In fairness, it was before the Bayern game. It was before.
Was it at my house when he was drunk at a barbecue? Is it?
I think you might have been.
Let me put this out there right now. If Thomas Frank finishes top 4 with this squad, that man deserves a statue.
Yeah.
If he finishes top 4 with this squad, he deserves a statue. Look,
as I say, bear in mind that some of these have come in like weeks back. So United probably have even got Mbeumo over the line. Then it could have just been Cunha and that sort of thing. So these have been going on for like 3-4 weeks. So it does change. And as I say, when we was first doing this, Kudus had just been announced. Morgan Gibbs-White was on its way, and you're kind of thinking, "Oh, Spurs really going for it here." So
my hot take, it's really difficult because I think this is going to be a year of calm. I don't think this is going to be a year of amazement. I think this is going to be the year before the year, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
My hot take. Kudus to be player of the season. Is that a hot take, or is that a little bit obvious?
I suppose a lot of it depends on what comes in.
My hot take, I think Van der Ven will start the season at centre-half, but won't end the season as one of the main 2. There you go. We've
just completed an episode with Sean, which had already been released, and that was one of our fears in terms of. We both said that obviously last season we was playing to all of the strengths of him as a defender, and this season it might be different. So therefore,
as I've always said about Van der Ven, and the thing is, when you say something that isn't 100% positive, people lose their minds. I've always said with Van der Ven, last year, the year before, oh my God, Mickey's amazing. Mickey, sure, But what we're really saying he's amazing at is the pace.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's
100%.
has he been able to get back and those lung busting runs to recover for us? Now I want to see, right, how good are you as a centre back?
Yeah.
I know how quick you are. I know you're going to beat me in a 100-meter race. I'm not asking that. How good are you with your positioning?
Yeah.
How good are you in the tackle? How good are you with your heading? How good are you at building a pot? That's what I want to see. I'm not knocking him. I'm not saying he's not good. I just want to see, right? I want to see. Now we're going to play a proper back four. How is he going to do with being a normal centre back, not a centre back that plays on the halfway line?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as I say, it was exactly the same. We wasn't saying that he's not any good or anything like that. It was just a case of, as I said, all of the positives in his playing style was played to last year. How is he going to adapt to be in a system where them positives in terms of pace and everything else are not as much of a requirement essentially? So, completely agree. And then last question up is, what are the expectations this season? This is mainly around the competitions. Obviously, Super Cup cups are obviously very much around who you draw, but what would you kind of want Spurs to be competing at in the league and the cups as well? Start with PSG.
I mean, look. Let's be brutally honest. You'd love to win the Super Cup, but if I'm going to be an honest, mature adult here, I don't think anyone's expecting that we beat PSG. Not with the squad we've got. A respectable scoreline at this stage. A respectable scoreline. They are the most feared team on the planet. I can't see any way that I can't see with the players we've currently got that we lay a glove on them.
Yeah, again, when we first started this, they'd just been beaten by Chelsea. There were 4-0 losses to them. They were struggling a little bit. They might be coming back from pre-season a bit late, but I think the optimism's kind of died down.
Yeah,
more realistic
I think the thing is, Chelsea, again, had their manager for a year. They know how he plays. Chelsea bringing in top footballers. Chelsea have got playmakers like Cole Palmer, pace like Pedro Neto. I think Pedro was amazing in that game as well.
Yeah.
Spurs have not signed that. Spurs have got rid of and lost to injury all our goals and assists. So I'll be honest, mate, if he wins that Super Cup, absolutely maximum respect to him. I can't see where any creativity and goals are coming from right now unless we sign. So Super Cup, I'm not expecting anything but a PSG win.
Yeah. League Cup and FA Cups. I link them in together because you could
it's always luck of the draw. Look, you get Man City first round of the FA Cup. I mean, what do? You get Liverpool away in the League Cup. What do you do? Listen, I'd love to have a cup run, but when people say we should at a minimum go on a cup run, it depends. You can have a cup run where you're getting Preston, Watford, Exeter, and you go, oh, this is nice. Yeah, we're going on a cup run. You can have a cup run where you go, oh, we've just beaten Liverpool. Oh, what? Now we've got Chelsea. It's
happened in the League Cup, didn't it? In the League Cup, we had City, United, Liverpool. So I know we went out to Liverpool, but that's the sort of run that you go on, and it's incredible. So
it's down to listen. I'd love to go far in a cup, but again, we've got Champions League this year as well. There's a lot of games, and at the moment, not a lot of quality in the squad. So I'm not expecting us to win anything. People will say I'm negative, and Ange, what last year we had the Europa League. We haven't got a Europa League this year. We don't have that tournament. So, look, just a good account of ourselves. If we are going to get knocked out to a City or a Liverpool, have a fight, have a battle. Let's not go out with a whimper. So we'll see on that one. I'd love to win the FA Cup though. I'd love to.
I was actually thinking, I think I've said it on a few of these, that if you won the FA Cup, that would be absolutely huge for Spurs. It would be an unbelievable season to win.
Massively.
FA Cup, 100%. We'll start with the Champions League because I think everyone's got similar expectations in that. Most of which people are saying just to kind of get through that league phase, hopefully, whether it be directly through and then it comes down to, you could get in the playoff rounds, you could get this season Real Madrid were in it. So again, it comes massively down to, are you in agreement with that?
Yeah, it's really difficult to predict these things without seeing who we're playing. Do you know what I mean? But I think there's enough teams in there that I would like to get out of the league stage, group stage, whatever they're calling it these days. At the moment, again, sorry to harp back to it, I am very worried though about where are these goals and assists coming from. However, I would like to think by the time this window shuts that we've addressed these problems. I think if we just get out of as it stands, if we just get out of the first stage, I think that's good. Anything beyond the last 16, I think is amazing. I think if we can replicate what Villa did last year, that would be really, really good. But again, at the moment, I can't see. Villa went into the Champions League with good players, lots of goal scorers and creativity, and at the moment, we're not. I'm genuinely concerned we could take a couple of hidings from good teams in the Champions League if we don't sort this out.
Yeah, no, completely agree. And then last but not least, obviously the deciding factor in Ange's fate, the league. Where would you expect us to sort of finish?
Yeah, so bearing in mind this is as we sit on the 8th of August, we're recording this, right? At 2:52 p.m. for anyone that cares. As it stands, I see us as an 8th to 10th place club. As it stands, I think I even think that might be generous. I'm going to repeat it. The goals and creativity absolutely worry me.
Yep.
However, 2-3 signings between now and the end of the window, that might change me to 6th place.
Yeah.
5th place. I don't know. The top 4, I just think are so far. We're so far in their rearview mirror at the moment. I think it's going to be really tough to break that. So I think at the moment, 8th to 10th, we've got to buy. We've got to buy, and who knows? Ask me again in 20 odd days.
We will be doing reviews of this to obviously work out where
reviews
we're kind
of the previews.
Reviews of the previews. There we go. Okay. And then we'll see if we did sign the players that we was hoping for or expecting and everything else. But I actually think that 8th is roughly where I think we'll be at currently. And I think when we add a couple more, maybe pushing up. But if we get like Conference League football next year or Europa League, it's another opportunity to potentially go and win that. So it's not like, if you don't finish top 4, then it's absolutely over, etc. So I think I completely agree. 8th and competitive in all of the cups.
Put it this way.
For me,
so I'm not expecting, as we sit here, I'm not expecting to qualify for the Champions League next season.
No.
This squad is, the way I said it to someone earlier, the top 4 are miles ahead.
Yes.
Newcastle and Villa, who were 30 points clear of us last year, as it stands, they haven't lost anyone.
Yeah.
Everyone's going, terrible window. They've not lost anyone. Now, yes, Newcastle might lose Isak, but as it stands, Newcastle have signed Elanga. They're in talks with Samu. They're in talks with Thiaw at the back as well, right? As it stands, Villa have signed Guissan. All right, you could say they've lost Asensio and Rashford on loan, but they didn't play both of them at the same time. So both these two clubs haven't lost anyone. No one's talking about them. That's where I think Spurs should be aiming.
Yeah.
We've got to go, right, how do we catch Newcastle and Villa? After that, then we can start looking at Chelsea and at the moment, you ask me whose team am I taking, Villa's, Newcastle's, or Spurs? I'm not taking Spurs's at the moment. I'm not.
I agree, and I think that's some of what the fan base are being confused with in terms of they're looking at the transfer windows and going, if we can match Newcastle and Aston Villa, it's like, well, that just means that we're just as far behind them as we were last year. We need to better these clubs. We need to have better windows than them to be able to make up that ground.
Yeah, absolutely. So listen, and as always, I'll caveat all of these predictions I do. I hope I'm wrong. You know, I did one with Irish Hotspur this time last year where I said I think Spurs will finish 7th in the league. And I said at the end of the video, I hope I'm wrong. Got loads of people coming back going, typical Savva, he's negative. And we ended up 17th. This year, right now, if you ask me if I would take 7th, I'll bite your hand off for it right now. With what we've got right now.
You got the 7, right? You just didn't put the 1 in front of it. So
I know I was only 10 places away, wasn't I? Only 10 places wrong.
All right, guys, that is the end of the questions. Obviously, if you haven't already done so, please make sure you like the video and subscribe. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've already subscribed over at Football Heritage TV. But if you haven't, please make sure you do so. As I've always said in all of these videos, support on this channel has been absolutely ridiculous lately. So thank you very much for that. Hopefully, we will have some more Spurs previews coming up in probably next week or so. So thank you very much. And as always, come on, you Spurs.